I'm Richard Porter.
I'm Johnny Smith.
And this is On the Other Side of Things, a Smith & Sniff spin-off in which we take questions from a live audience.
Thank you. Oh, this is lovely.
Isn't it?
Sweet, sweet audience.
Sweet, sweet audience here in London. Does anyone have a question for us? For a moment there.
Oh, there is. It's over here.
Naught for naught.
You, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
The question is, what car do you both regret not buying?
Not buying.
Oh, gosh.
I was
not
talking
buying.
about...
I mean, there's sort of looking at, which I think a lot of us in this room probably do all the time, but kind of going down the path of like serious inquiries. There was a beautiful Rover P6 that I was dead serious about buying, and the biggest flaw was that it was in Kent.
Kent.
We've established Kent.
Yeah, yes. I heard you. Okay, thank you.
We've established on the podcast before that Kent is impossible to get to, even from other parts of Kent. I don't know what it is. Somehow, we've all stashed Kent in the corner of Britain, and now we can't get it back very easily.
Yes.
So, I was trying to arrange a time. I spoke to the guy who was selling it, and I was trying to arrange a time when I could go. And bearing in mind, I lived in London at the time.
Not that far from
which
Kent.
is adjacent to Kent. But it's not. I'm starting to think Kent's an island, and it's nearer Norway than it is to London. So it was going to take me 3 hours to drive to where this guy was. And I just couldn't find a time. When I finally found a time, he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's gone." And I was dead G'd up for getting that car. I talked to someone who knows about P6s, and he told me all the things that go wrong with them, and even that didn't put me off.
I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't buy, weirdly, a Rover P6 about 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
But the Sex Tourist version.
Oh, yes.
That I've got a bit of a thing for. And it sold for a lot less at auction than it should have done.
Yeah.
And I know from other people who are Rover P6 sex pests, they said that is a 30 grand car. And it went for half of that. It's a buyer's market out there. But the one I regret the most is back in the day when I lived in London. Yeah. 2001, a guy I used to work with had a 911 in black that he'd imported himself from the States, and it was 1968, 69, 2 litre. And he said, "I need to sell it." This was a couple of years after he'd had it. And it was absolutely perfect. Perfect.
Ooh.
And he said, "I'm looking for 13 grand.
Oh!
But at the time, I would have never been able to get to that. I would have had to have begged, borrowed, and stolen money, but I should have done. And I regret it now, because I don't think 13 grand would even buy like the front wings and headlights of the car now. So that's
a 996 Tiptronic with some crust.
Yeah, that is. So yeah, a bit pissed off.
Have you done the IMS bearing? What? I'm glad people laughed at that, because I thought I might have gone a bit too, weird. So
that's the truth of it. That's the truth of it.
Do we have another question? Oh, right here, Johnny. Someone was quick on the draw, so it seems only fair that John Wayne here should get quick draw rewards.
Quite enjoy wearing a sort of like cheap Panama hat. Could get used to this. I probably look like a turnip, but anyway.
A good turnip.
Yeah. Thanks, yeah.
What is, both your experience, the most trivial issue that has ruined an otherwise lovely car for you, i.e. made it undrivable?
Ooh.
I made it undrivable?
Well, it's drivable, but you just won't get in it again.
Right. Gosh.
I didn't make it undrivable, but I used to have a Porsche 911, not a 13 grand 60s one.
60s 911, yeah.
But it was a different time. But... my 997 did have this persistent, irritating fault, which is it creaked when you drove along, which I finally found out was the back windows moving in their rubbers.
Really?
Yeah, and you put some stuff called gummy pledge on it. It's German, in case you couldn't guess. And it just lubricates the rubbers, and that helped a lot. But until that point, there were times when I just went, I'm going to have to sell this car. I can't bear this. I can't. Because you know how also creaks and rattles, they throw their voice. So wherever you think it's coming from is not where it's coming from. And that it drove me to distraction for a while. I even asked someone from Porsche, and he had a poke round it, and he went, no idea, mate. So it's, you know.
Rubber is not a good thing.
Yes, as Johnny has a magazine about that, actually, which we're not going to look at again.
Fantastic European pamphlet that I've got here, and I'll keep that for another day. Any car that leaks is a hideous, horrible, hateful thing. And to diagnose a leak is really long-winded. I had an Audi Coupe GT that I loved, and I actually regret selling that car, but the boot used to leak. And I got so fed up trying to solve it that one day in a sort of semi-rage, I drove round to my mate's garage, who does a lot of work for me, and I climbed into the boot, and I got him to get his most powerful Karcher pressure washer out, and he pressure washed the entire back end of the car whilst I was really tightly clammed up into the back with a phone torch. I started to get a little bit stressed out because I realised, being a coupe, there is no way to open the boot apart from outside. I just started to think, what about if he just suddenly went, you know what, you can fucking stay in there for like a couple of hours, I'm just going to walk off. I couldn't do anything about it because it's a steel bulkhead. And I did find the weep, and I was so happy because I'd lived with it for about 2 years and it just bothered the hell out of me. There's nothing worse than the smell of mouldy carpet.
Ooh, there is. Milk.
Oh, yeah. Or old cut flowers, the water that they sit in. Ooh,
oh, yes.
You dirty...
That's an underrated, terrible smell.
It's worse than vomit and worse than nightclub toilets.
Yeah.
Definitely worse.
Clutch. Clutch is a bad
Clutch smell is bad, like mackerel. Like grilled mackerel.
Yeah. Do we have another question? I saw someone down the front here. Yes, you, sir.
So the Beast is parked outside.
The Beast.
And that's a mismatch of all types of cars. If you could make your own Beast, what cars would you use to
make
oh my God.
your own Beast?
Make your own Beast.
It's a really good question.
I did this for a feature for Evo. I got all of the writers to submit their favourite parts of different cars, and then we created this. I think we called it the Ultra Car. And I can't remember any of the parts that we put into it. But it was quite specific. I seem to remember it was the brakes, the carbon brakes off an Aston Martin, because they were the best carbon ceramics at that point. And I can't remember anything else. Probably the steering off a Caterham. And
well, I reckon that the Aston Martin DB5 stunt car from the Bond, which I've forgotten the name of.
Oh, no, Timotody.
Haven't got any time to die, not this time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, not this week.
Just stop dying now.
I'll tell you what, I've got a window next Tuesday to die, if that's all right.
Not dying now, but will die next Tuesday.
This week. Yeah.
So that one, but of course that is not an Aston Martin. It's an E36 M3.
Was it? Yeah, was it 36 or 46?
Oh, sorry, E46
really
M3 with a glass fibre, I think, Aston DB5 body shell, so M3 steering. I've probably got M3 brakes. I never drove it. I missed a chance to drive it, but everyone that drove it went, basically, it's the best thing that Aston Martin have ever made. And I actually, probably reason why I don't get invited on many Aston launches, I phoned Aston up and went, why don't you just build these? Like, for people like me who don't want a real DB5 and can't afford one anyway, it's basically an endorsed Aston stunt car that just rips around and has the fun of your life, but costs a fraction of an Aston, starts properly, stops properly, doesn't shat itself, doesn't have a forward key, all the things that you don't want.
Yeah. I think, from a PR point of view, a hard sell.
Do you?
Well, people go, this is the best engine that's ever been in an Aston. Where's it from? BMW. Best brakes I've ever tried in an Aston. Whose are they? BMW. You can see where it's going. It's just...
Yeah, but if Aston make money from it...
Well, if they just fess up and go, yes, but what does it look like? Oh, yeah, it looks like an Aston Martin. Exactly.
Exactly.
Stick to what you're good at.
Yeah.
Making cars from the 60s.
And like, yeah, exactly. There we go.
Do we have another question in this section here? Yes, we do. Over this way. I've picked you because you're on the aisle, and that makes my life easier.
Have you ever hydrolocked a car yourself or come close to?
I've never hydro-locked a vehicle because I'm a good driver. And I don't do what the off-road guys do, and they wade out into
Yeah.
the...
But you need those big trousers.
Oh, no, not when I've been with them.
Really?
They took the trousers off.
What are they called? They're waders, aren't they? They're called waders. The clue's in the name.
No, I've done it with Jimmy DeVille, and he just took his trousers right off and lay them on the bonnet.
Yeah, but that's Jimmy DeVille.
He's
seen things.
Well, I've seen things now.
Well, you've seen Jimmy with his trousers off.
He sort of rolled his boxer shorts really high, like Mowgli from Jungle Book.
SAS boxer shorts.
I just didn't know where to look, really. I was like, well, okay.
But maybe that's...
I nearly went, should we just risk driving the car across rather than doing all of that?
You know those new generation Land Rovers have the wading sensor?
Yes.
Maybe Jimmy's wading sensor is... bag.
Could be.
Anyway.
It's what, sorry?
The Neva.
Oh, the Neva.
Oh.
Yeah, that was appalling. Well, I blame that on the person that ran the quarry, who was extremely vague with the instructions. No, that's true. He wasn't driving. Well,
I don't think I've ever hydraulicked a car. I've never hydraulicked a car. Well, no. But we did come close on Top Gear when we did that thorough road test of the Ford Fiesta. There was a sequence in that where we did a beach landing.
Yeah, I remember it.
And there was some finagling of the air intake with a little bit of extra piping to make sure the car didn't hydrolock.
But that went fully in.
Yeah. Well, Ford, completely on board with the principle of that film. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, and you can have a pre-production car. And they completely committed to it. And then we said, and we're going to do a beach landing, and it's going to drive through some shallow water on a beach.
Oh.
Internally, they shat their pants because in their development testing, that car, we only found this out much later, was quite marginal on where the air intake was and was at risk of hydrolocking more than other cars they make. And they thought we knew that and we were trying to expose them for it.
Did they put
But that would have credited Top Gear with a level of journalism we simply didn't have. We just wanted to make good telly. So they put in some extra pipe work to make sure that it was okay, which was good. We knew about this, and it was like, we don't want the car to grind to a halt on the middle of a big, expensive shoot with lots of other, moving parts. But it's only afterwards we found out that Ford were absolutely papping themselves about the prospect of hydrolocking. But it didn't happen, so we were okay.
I can't believe it didn't. Because if you watch that back, it looked like it's going through a metre of water.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a pipe that ran up and went to the scuttle.
So I've never.
What about Oliver? Oh, well, I wasn't driving that, so that's okay. I'm not taking the blame for that one.
I've never blown an engine up. I've tried to.
No.
I tried to the Cavalier.
I thought you just max revved that.
I did.
Still.
Yeah, and we sat there for 8 minutes. We started out from cold with several bricks on the throttle, and it sat there for 8 minutes just going, ga, 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 ga. And we're like, we've done this from cold. And it's fine. It's just going, yeah.
That's just...
And I had to shut the engine off in the end, sadly, because all of the exhaust rubbers at the back caught fire.
Oh.
And that caught fire to the grass.
That's annoying.
And I just suddenly went, oh shit, everything's on fire back there. The car's fine up here.
You idiot. We need some Vauxhall exhaust rubbers for the Eagle Quest now.
I know we do.
Could have had those.
It was different times.
Different times.
Different times. It was 20 years ago, that was.
Anyone over here have a question?
Any questions?
No. Oh, yeah. It's not a 3-line whip. If you don't have to put your hand up.
So this is a question for Johnny, but it's about Richard.
Oh my gosh.
Now there's a panda-shaped hole at the top of his very steep driveway.
It is very steep.
What car will you be peer pressing him to spend his money on?
Oh, fucking hell. Not this.
Well, I would like him to get a Honda Beat. Every time I say Honda Beat, I want to say Dr. Beat.
Yeah.
By
no, I can only hear it as
Miami
Honda
Sound
Beat.
Machine.
I hear a little 90s
Honda Beat. So I've seen him sit in one and he fits. So that means he's a worthy candidate of the Beat. So I think a Honda Beat would be really cool. And it would fit on your drive and...
It would fit on my drive and I could probably still get the bins out on a Thursday night.
Yes, because it's narrow.
That's bin night.
Yeah, and also they...
shit, it's tonight.
Is it? Is it?
I didn't put them out before I left.
Well, you
Better message my wife about that.
so romantic.
I'm joking, of course. She knows. It's been nice.
So I think I'd like to get him a beat, or him to get a beat. I'm not getting him one. And
Why not?
well, I just can't be bothered.
If I hold a big mirror up to you. No, you have to get one too.
It'd be nice to have access to one, but the good thing about those is tiny engine, easy to bump start.
Yes, because if it starts rolling away off down the street, as long as the roof's down, I could just jump into it.
I want Rich to do a home video of trying to bump start his car on his short but extremely steep drive.
I think we've already established that doesn't work, but maybe with a smaller car it would.
I think it'll take.
I don't know, maybe
quicker.
I need a bigger, heavier car. I liked that Jaguar
Equal
XJR that was in that auction that you went to. The
Yeah.
manual XJR
Yes,
that's being sold by that. Did it sell? I didn't check.
I can't remember.
It's being sold by that chap who is interested in that other car that I need to get rid of that I haven't. The Range Rover. And
Yeah, so I think that.
could do swapsies.
And that's been nice because I know he likes it. I could make him or try and make him buy a car that he doesn't like, but that's a bastard move.
But there was something else you were trying to psych me into buying.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember what it was. My brain's broken.
And I just almost thought it was a good idea for a nanosecond and then realised that you're a fine one to talk.
Is that when we were talking about Grand Theft Auto? And I said the game should be, because they're bringing a new Grand Theft Auto game out, I think next year, finally. And it should just be Granada theft, in brackets, automatic. So you're only allowed to steal an automatic Granada. If you break into it and go, oh, fuck, it's a manual, not taking that one. And that's the premise of the game. I mean, it's a niche game.
It's quite niche. But
Yeah, but it's got legs, I think.
Another question?
Lots of really nice EV electric classic conversions out. What should never, ever be converted from ICE on pain of death?
Well, it's been done. Lamborghini Countach.
What? Has someone done that?
Yeah, electric classic cars.
No.
Yeah, and the guy's got the engine as a coffee table.
Oh.
And I just think that's a bit wrong, really.
Yeah, that's...
Because the sort of the party piece of a car like that is the heart of it. And there's a lot of great classics which would make perfect EVs. Citroen DS.
Yes.
DeLorean, we've talked about those. Or, I don't think anyone's ever going to go, oh, you shouldn't have taken that amazing engine out of the DeLorean. Because everyone's buying a DeLorean for them and Back to the Future and all that stuff. So
on a more sort of modern classics tip, I think, and you have got intentions, or you had intentions about this, is like Figaros and S-Cargos, and sort of 90s stuff that's more, you're doing it for the design and for the whole overall vibe. All good. And again, nobody's going, can't believe it hasn't got a 3-speed auto and a 20 horsepower 1 litre engine anymore. So
Cobra head, exactly.
Cobra head. Well, you could still have the Cobra head. That's the thing. I mean,
I just make it bigger. I'd
light up.
I'd 3D print it.
Have it like
bigger.
touring car style, like up there.
It's a two-hander. It's a two-handed selector.
So yeah, no, I think Countach's. I didn't know they'd done that.
Yeah, it's quite.
You have to draw the line somewhere.
I don't agree. And they've done 2 Testarossas.
What?
They've done 2 Ferrari Testarossas. So you buy a Ferrari with a flat 12, and you're not interested in the flat 12. That boggles my mind. And I'm an EV enthusiast, but that's not quite right for me.
It's got to be a McLaren F1, isn't it? That's the ultimate.
What EV?
That would be the ultimate no.
Oh, to not do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Gordon Murray would come round your house. he'd pull your trousers down, and he would.
No.
That's what he would do. That.
Oh yeah, he probably would do that.
He would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
no, I think he'd rip it apart with his bare hands.
He would.
Scrupulously weigh all the electric parts and then punch you in the face.
Yeah. He'd spray mount Hawaiian shirts to your bare skin. Yeah.
Well, that's what he's done for weight saving, isn't it? It's a tattoo now.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that Hawaiian shirt's just tattooed
It's a
on.
full body.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Because it saves a few grams.
That is a great idea.
I've been given the signal to shut the fuck up. And I think that's only fair enough, but we'll take one more question from there. there.
This is the one.
Oh, yes,
I'm
this
so
is
glad
the
you put
one.
your hand up, because this is what we were talking about at the beginning of the previous podcast session.
Yeah, earlier you, at the Lotus podcast, you said, you didn't hear me right, but I did say it was 36 miles an hour, not 26 miles an hour. We were reversing that.
So can you just remind the people in the room who don't remember, you can summarise the story.
Yeah, that we had a BMW that was broken down. It only had one gear reverse, so we had to take it to get it repaired. No trailer, no truck, but we reversed it for 10 miles. Through the town, round roundabouts.
I don't. Is that illegal? Is that classed as illegal?
He's still here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Be in prison if it
We
was.
were on the same side of the road and we were going the right direction.
Did you? Actually, that's a good question. Did for a moment you think, which side of the road should I be on for this?
We stuck to that side and we passed the police station on the way past.
You passed a police station?
Yeah, two of them actually.
Two?
Two, there's one at the place just beside the repair.
And you did 36 miles an hour in reverse?
60 miles an hour in reverse.
Well, round of applause. Well,
I'm not finished yet.
Pardon?
You remember I still have Jim Corr's car
Yes.
to do, and I'm still waiting for you to come to Ireland and we start that car as well.
Jim, the
Jim
Cor's
Corr's-
dad's Lexus.
Yes.
The LS.
There's photographs there. We sent them.
I've seen the pictures.
I'm a busy guy, but you know,
You're
it's
not that
And
busy.
remember, and remember, we have the Hearst factory as well for you to visit.
Oh, okay. Oh, are you going to pick me up from the airport and drive me home in reverse?
It's a deal breaker.
In the Cor's Lexus. And they go, that looks like Dad's. They go to high speed in reverse, VMAX in reverse.
It'd be okay in reverse, yeah.
No, honestly, your story's brilliant. Because we were impressed with 26 miles an hour and the fact that we said it wrong and we underdid you.
It's good that you were able to set the record straight. And on that fitting note, I think we should probably bring this to an end. Thank you, everyone, for coming along here. Thank you for your excellent questions. We do all this again, whenever that is, next time on a Friday. But until then, goodbye.
Thank you.